How's it going, YouTube world? This is Doug Montizello, and I'm joined with Andrew Warschauer. And this is a new series to give people an opportunity to share lessons learned that they feel other people could benefit from. So I brought Andrew on specifically because he has two qualities that I admire. Number one is his work ethic. So we've volunteered on a couple of projects together. For example, helping peel up floors for houses that were flooded during Hurricane Harvey and installing fences in just a coworker's house. And he does not stop until the job's done. And it's insane. When most people would quit, he just keeps going. And the second is his ability to give back to the community. After Hurricane Harvey, he volunteered after a long day's work, volunteered from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. at a shelter locally in Houston, and continued to work through Labor Day weekend to help fellow employees find relocating houses. So this is outside the normal realm of what people do, and I really wanted to give him time to share these lessons that hopefully we can all benefit from. So with that being said, I'll give Andrew the floor.
All right, thank you, Doug. I appreciate what you're doing here. I really like the series so far, and I know you've given me a lot of personal advice in my life and helped me through some difficult times. So trying to share your vision and get the word out to other people, I think is a really good cause. So to introduce myself, Andrew Warschauer. I'm from New Jersey originally. I moved down to Houston about 2 years ago to take a job with ExxonMobil, and that's where I first met Doug on our first project together. He's given me a lot of advice in my life, and I feel like I wanted to give back to you a little bit and share some of my life experiences. So the first thing I'll talk about is work ethic. So you mentioned that, and for me, I just look at my parenting and how hard my parents worked, and that just kind of drives me because looking at my dad, for example, he's an orthopedic surgeon, but he kind of paid his way through college. Worked in multiple jobs to get through, and then right now he started his own practice, built it from the ground up, and just seeing how much effort and commitment that took just really kind of resonates with me and helps me drive myself in terms of my work life. And in terms of giving back, that was something that my mom really taught me. So when we were kids, she'd take us to the soup kitchen every week, and just being there, meeting some new people that, super friendly, and kind of a community of just, like-minded people that just want to, spend some of their personal time just giving back, doing something good for someone else. But one thing that I like to say is that, you don't have to own your own nonprofit and, go volunteer every day in order to give back. It can be as simple as something as, giving someone a compliment every day. A different person, and just kind of brightening their day, and making sure everyone around you is happy, and just trying to impact people's lives that way. So another thing I know you talked about in one of your episodes was religion. So I'm not super religious. I don't go to church every weekend or anything, but as a kid, my parents would bring me to church, and learning a little bit about the lessons of the Bible that they taught, and just how to be how to have good character and how to carry yourself as an individual and give back to people that are less fortunate than yourselves. I know, like I said, my parents worked super hard to give me a good childhood and, good house, good neighborhood. And, they sent me off to school. They helped me pay for college. So I didn't have the same experience as say my dad growing up. But I still want to, give a good work ethic and work as hard as I can, even though I don't, necessarily have the same beginnings that he did. I just want to, kind of build on top of that. So one thing I want to talk about, I have some stuff written here behind me. So I went to Lafayette College. I was a track and field athlete, cross-country runner, and part of that experience was I attended a leadership academy starting my sophomore year through my senior year, where they just kind of taught you some of the fundamentals of leadership and how to apply those lessons to yourself, and become a better leader and a better athlete for your team. So the first thing I want to talk about here is the 4 C's, and so these C's, these are for nonverbal leadership. So before you even become a junior or senior on the team, where you're providing verbal feedback and holding people accountable and kind of giving the marching orders, you want to build the fundamentals of leadership at a nonverbal level and just work on these 4 things before you even transition to a verbal leader. So the first one here is character. You have to have a strong character and kind of practice what you preach. So you gotta, live what you're telling other people to do. The second one is commitment. People can see right through you if you're not committed to something. It's really easy to pick up on if someone's not giving 100% every day. Next one is composure. So it's really easy to say the right thing and do the right thing in like perfect scenarios and when everything is going well. You don't say you don't have a huge test coming up. That might detract from your focus in practice or something. So just in situations that aren't fully perfect, just keeping good composure in order to kind of keep those fundamentals going, even in harsh times. Next, the last one here is confidence. So I know you've alluded to confidence a lot in terms of success. So building your confidence is something you can definitely work on. Confidence isn't something that you're born with or something that you just inherently develop. It's something you can work at, and if you watch some of Doug's other videos, he can talk a little bit more about that. So this is more of for my athletic experience, but you can apply these fundamentals and the 4 C's to kind of anything in your life. For business example, when you start on a project, you're the young engineer, and people are going to look to you to kind of do some of the grunt work, and you're not necessarily going to be making the big decisions on a project necessarily, but what you can do is work on these fundamentals here, and then by the time you get to the point in your career where you're responsible for leading a project team and making big business decisions, you have the fundamentals underneath you in order to have the credibility in your workplace. So the last thing here I want to talk about is the commitment spectrum. So this is part of our leadership class where they talked about where you fall particularly on the spectrum. So on the left here, you just have negative, and that's just people that are, they show up, they go through the motions, they're not giving a lot of effort. There's people who are neutral, and those are the kind of folks that, you may show up one day, work really hard, have a great workout, but then the next day you're tired, you're dogging it, and you're not giving your all, every single day, day in, day out. The last one here on the right is positive. So you want to be in this zone here, but you want to be as far to the right as possible to avoid this one zone at the end here, and this is what they termed obsessed in our class setting. So what this is when you're overcommitted to something, it can actually detract from your performance. So one example Doug and I talked about was work-life balance. So you may see people at work that work 12-hour days. It seems like they're there when you get in, and they're still there when you leave to go home. And you may think, these people are working so hard, they must be so successful. But if you don't maintain the right work-life balance in terms of, you have to have social interactions with people, have a good network of friends that you can fall back on when times get tough, that sort of thing. And you don't want to overcommit yourself to something and have it lead to maybe like a mental breakdown at work where you have a really tight deadline and you've been working so hard, and then something changes in the project and it just causes everything to come crashing down. You have to kind of keep that, like I talked about, the composure in order to handle a scenario like that. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So thanks for having me, Doug, and appreciate the opportunity here.
Absolutely, thanks a lot.